You know, my Leica CL was one of my favorite purchases last year. It was a camera that really inspired me around photography. It's small, it felt light, mirrorless, interchangeable, and the APS-C sensor made sense for the time that I purchased it. I was really into photography, I had no interest in doing video, and low light didn't seem to be something that I did a lot. Turns out, most of my photos were low light. I shoot a lot of my family and my kids inside, and really thinking about it, there's something that I've been wanting to do that I wasn't able to with the Leica CL. Start this channel. This is the Leica CL Reboxing. You know, YouTube is filled with people trying to make videos about why you should buy something else, and that's okay, there's nothing wrong with that. I watched a lot of videos about the EOS R before I bought it, which probably makes you wonder why I bought it, based on some of the videos out there, but it also proves something for me that folks review things based very simply on spec sheets and how much it would fit their workflow. And one of the things that I aspire to do is to try to give you information that might fit yours a little bit better. So for many professional photographers, a wedding photographer, the EOS R makes no sense. How could you not have dual SD slots? But for me, I've shot on 2 cameras in my life, actually 5, and none of them have ever had dual SD slots. I started on the Sony NEX5. It was the first interchangeable lens camera that I ever owned, and I loved it. Sony made their entrance into the world, and I really enjoyed everything about it. I loved the camera, I loved the quality of the photos, and it was the first time I ever owned what was above a regular consumer grade camera. But I wanted to go into the world that everyone else knew, so I made a purchasing decision to buy a Nikon. And this was a really interesting camera by Nikon. It was the size of a point and shoot, it was a DX sensor, so it was a bigger APS-C sensor, but done in a non-interchangeable lens camera. And I really thought it would make sense for me, for our family, to be able to have something so portable, but I immediately noticed the inability to zoom, the inability to change to a deeper focal length, and I really was disappointed in that camera. When our middle child was born, I purchased the Sony a7 II. This was the best camera that I've ever owned, the a7 II. It was a wonderful piece of kit. It has beautiful lenses. I own the Zeiss 1.4 55. That's one of my favorite lenses of all time. And I loved that camera, but I found, and I shared this in one of the initial podcasts, that I just didn't bring it with me anywhere. The camera itself was really wonderful, but I didn't think that it was worth taking with me most places. And so where it fell down for me is that a camera left at home, you can buy whatever camera you want, there's no value in that. So I made a decision last year to purchase the Leica CL. I bought the model with the 18mm 2.8 lens, and this was a really cool decision because this camera is not pocketable. It's not something you're going to throw in a back pocket, but you can toss it in almost any bag that you have and it just gets out of the way. So I loved this camera. I thought it was a really great purchase for my family, and in fact, I loved it so much, I replaced that lens with the 35f 1.4 that Leica makes. Now, that lens, while beautiful, has another downside, which is it takes it back up in weight, back to where I was with the Sony a7 II. So I was in this perplexing situation where I had a really beautiful camera that takes really beautiful photos, but again, it wasn't going with me where I wanted. And then something happened. My friend Drew, we host the podcast together, posted a video recapping last year. Drew's son was born, and he posted some of the shots he took while he was in the hospital. And his shots were beautifully taken, but there was also these really beautiful videos. And I realized that I think I'm doing the wrong thing. By capturing my life only in photography, I'm losing the ability to capture moments that are really important to my life. So I want to tell you a few things that I really liked about this camera, and if you're interested in buying one of these, a couple of reasons why you should. I just want to give you a few of the reasons why it's the wrong fit for me, so you can make a really educated decision. So the Leica CL bucks some of the normal trends of mirrorless cameras. It doesn't have a flippy screen, it doesn't come out at all, it doesn't move. In fact, it's very similar to buying an in-series camera from Leica, where it feels very driven around photography. These 2 dials up top, I really like these. These multifunction dials are awesome because they change. The default setting for me is my exposure, my aperture. What's really nice is with the touch of a button up here, it switches from being your aperture to maybe your ISO, maybe your shutter speed, whatever you think is appropriate for the setting you're in. And so in having both of these, you have this really quick ability to adjust the photo and take something really beautiful. There's a lot of simplicity in this camera that makes it really, really great. You'll notice the hooks on it are really, really tiny, and the way that Leica does touches, it feels just beautiful in your hand. The hot shoe on the top, while cool to have a hot shoe, it only has one purpose with Leica, which is to hold one of their very expensive flashes, because there's no other plugs anywhere on the camera. There's no ability to connect USB-C, there's no ability to pull your photos off, there's no slot for a microphone, there's no slot for headphones. So you have this really simplistic approach to photography, but the moment that you try to go into video, it falls down pretty fast at just being a camera that can shoot video, but you never would. On the bottom, you'll find the battery door, and Leica does a good job with their batteries. They last a really long time, and an SD card slot, again, a single SD card slot, which is what I've been used to. And then this electronic viewfinder, and this EVF is really, really nice. It was comparable to the Sony, a little bit better than the A7 II that I had, not as good as this EOS R, but really, really good for the way that I used it. And what I really liked is, again, so nice and portable that it fit in every bag and it was with me everywhere I went. Now, would anyone in their right mind buy this camera? Yes. Yeah, it's expensive. It's got Leica's name on it, and their glass is something really, really special. Their color science is gorgeous, and some of the photos I took on this are amazing. Is it the right camera for someone that wants to use it for more than just still photography? I don't think so. I don't think it has any value in that space. And the other area that it really fell down for me was low light. The APS-C sensor means that all of these lenses have to adjust to their crop factors. While really, really nice lenses, I just couldn't get what I was looking for with a really brilliant depth of field or really great fast imagery when I was shooting at night so I can let in all that light. Because what I didn't know, I guess, when buying this is that you don't just multiply the crop factor, but things like ISO and things like aperture are multiplied too by that crop. And so you really lose out on some of the speed of the lenses and the quality that you could get. Now, that doesn't detract from how good the camera was, but for me, it just didn't work anymore. So I know on YouTube you've seen lots of people open up and unbox their new cameras, but maybe a new thing that I'll be starting. This is the last time I'll be putting this Leica camera away, and this is me closing the book on a really great camera that I really enjoyed, but the wrong one for my family. This was the Leica CL Reboxing.